What is the point of looking the part on Instagram? What is the point of having the quote unquote worldly success if you're a wreck of a person inside, if you can't even feel good things when they're present?
Devi Brown is a master well-being educator, multidisciplinary healer, author, and founder of Devi Brown Well-Being. She is the host of Deeply Well podcast and the author of Crystal Bliss and Living in Wisdom, which debuted earlier this year.
Comparison is the greatest waste of your gifts. How would your closest friend describe you? Oh my word.
Welcome back to another episode of the Do Tell Relationship Podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. And I think that today's episode is going to be really amazing because we're going to learn, we're going to grow, we're going to talk about healing. People talk about healing a lot these days, but doing the work, feeling the feelings, and prioritizing peace every day, that's where things get real. My guest today reminds us that healing isn't just about self-care or quick fixes. It's about the daily devotion to growing, releasing, and choosing peace, even when life gets messy. Lately, I've been thinking about how there can be so many pressures to have it all together, even when we're still figuring ourselves out. But healing is rarely neat. It can be messy, it can be tender, and sometimes the journey can just feel lonely. It's about sitting with our pain, staying open to joy, and showing up for ourselves through it all. That's why I'm so excited for today's conversation with Devi. Devi is a master well-being educator, multidisciplinary healer, author, and the founder of Devi Brown Well-Being. She's the host of the Deeply Well podcast and the author of Crystal Bliss and Living in Wisdom, which debuted early this year. She has also served as Chief Impact Officer for Chopra Global, where she helped expand access to holistic wellness for people of all backgrounds. Her work bridges healing, spirituality, and the realities of modern life in a way that makes growth feel both intentional and within reach. We're talking about what it really means to live in wisdom, how healing can transform the way we love, parent, and move through the world, what happens when we stop avoiding our pain, and how to find small grounding moments of joy that keep us whole. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. I'm so grateful to have you here. It'll be a really good conversation.
Oh my God. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so before we jump into things, I like to do a little bit of icebreaker. It's called walk away or walk through it.
Ooh.
And you can answer as quickly or as long as you'd like, and I will just determine how many questions we go in. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so the first question is, you set a boundary with a loved one and they accuse you of being selfish or too sensitive. Walk away or walk through it?
I would say, well, it depends on where we're at with the testing of my boundaries, right? Because I think both are valid responses depending on kind of what the journey with the person has been. I do think that, part of us healing and growing is that we have to put all the work we're doing on ourselves into practice in the world. And a lot of that practice is role modeling better behavior for other people.
Yep.
So I would say I'd walk into it, but not in a way where I really had a lot of high expectations of the other person or like a needing to prove. I would just reinforce the boundary yet again and be unmovable in it, but try my best to do it with grace and some kindness and presence.
I really like that. And it is very situational, but that's great. Okay, so the next question is, you started a conversation with a friend feeling connected, but now it feels one-sided and emotionally draining. Walk away or walk through it?
Likely walk away.
Okay.
Likely walk away. Again, depends on what the full journey of the relationship has been. But I do think at this point in my life, at this age, at this level of like lived experience, I trust my discernment. I trust that I am a good judge of character and also judge of like what's really the potential between us. Where can we really go with this? I think fundamentally in friendship, I require that the other person I'm in like close friendship with has to be emotionally mature. If that is missing, it's not possible for me because we're just not really going to get there where we're each at. And we might, but it might take a long time. And that's just not something I'm really looking to do right now. But I do think too, depending on how it's gone, how much we've talked through this dynamic in the past, I think that plays a lot into it. But I'm a big believer in, letting go of the grip with ease as soon as I recognize that I'm gripping onto anything and just having a gentle opening of the hand so it doesn't have to turn into more than that. Yeah.
I love that analogy. A gentle opening of the hand and not really hanging on to that grip.
We grip so tightly to things. And it's like, I think anytime we feel ourselves holding on that tight, sometimes we should be, sometimes we shouldn't be, but we should investigate what the grip is and why we're holding it. It's like, are you gripping and the pads of your finger are white, right? The veins in your hand are bulging. You're causing yourself discomfort. Or are you, gripping on with kind of like a mutual strength, like a fortified kind of integral, keeping it in shape. So yeah, investigate the grip.
That's really good. I have so many personal follow-up questions, but I'm going to keep them for later for myself.
Okay. I want to hear them now.
So we'll get into that later. Last question. Let's just do one more. Ooh, I like this one. A big name guest reaches out about being on your podcast, but their message and mission don't align with your values. Walk away or walk through it?
Oh, that's so easy. That's such an easy walk away. That's such an easy walk away. But I will say, I do think some things are teachable. So if I think someone is not necessarily causing harm, but they have a different way they're experiencing the world, I am open to having conversation, in general. I'm always open to good dialogue. I'm very curious about things. So my curiosity might lead me to it in some way. But for the most part, no, because why? Why?
Yeah.
I think so many of us should look more often at what we don't have to do. It's like,
no.
Well, I don't have to, so no.
Those are good. Exactly.
Yeah.
No period. Okay, great. That was easy. Let's just get into it. I did a really lovely introduction of you, so we know where you come from and what you're up to these days. So I want to talk a little bit about your journey so far.
Yeah.
You've done so many different things, from hip hop to media to wellness. Yeah, it's been a lot, right? And you've had the courage to keep saying yes and yes to change, even when it felt uncertain or unsure. For anyone listening who may be feeling scared to take that next big step, is there a truth or reminder that you go back to that helped move you forward?
Oh, wow. Ooh, that's such a good question.
I know. I think so too.
Yeah. And I think it's God, so many things at different times. But I think where I've landed with some of that process now, I really trust my life. I really, really trust my life. And it's not because it's all gone really well. Quite the opposite. There have been so many dark holes and dark nights and challenges and blockades. But I think something I really try to reinforce in myself often is trusting the historical context of my life and really looking with not a personalized eye, but really a discerning eye for what's true. And I think that no matter where I've been in my life, and I have had just 10 lifetimes in this lifetime and so many extremely contrasting experiences, so many things that don't go together at all, non-transferable. But when I look at all of those facets, there is always kind of a universal truth that as long as I stay in my personal alignment, and for me that represents living with integrity, living with deep presence and connection to my life, not running from things, especially the things that go on inside of me, and really looking to serve, looking to ultimately, no matter what, serve. I think I just trust that I'm held in all of that and led in all of that. And so far, it's always been true, which again is not to say that things haven't been really hard sometimes, but I'm here for that too. That's the human experience. It's both. It's grief and it's joy. It's dualistic. I don't need things to be good all of the time to love myself and to feel foundationally good about my life.
Right, right. I think it's what you're saying is so important to find those fundamental truths that you can really hold on to no matter or despite what position or what season you are in life and all of the things that you kind of experienced along the way. Was there anything that felt like, is there anything that you feel like you just wish that you would have known sooner?
So many things, so many things. And it's so funny because I feel like, and especially like at this age, as a millennial, like I think the kind of like overarching, easy but honest thing would be to say is like everything happens, for a reason. And no, ultimately I regret nothing because I wouldn't be here where I am. And yes, true, all the things. And I could have saved myself a lot of time. I could have saved myself a lot of like inner conflict and inner turmoil if there were some things that, I had guidance in earlier and known. And I think, and it's so funny because as cliche as saying this is, it is just so life-changingly true, but you cannot care what other people think. You cannot measure yourself against anyone ever. It's like not only is comparison the thief of joy, like comparison is the greatest waste of your gifts and of your life's timing. So I think the sooner a person can disconnect from the zeitgeist of their time, the sooner a person can really dive deep and say, like, what are the values of my life? Why am I here? How does God uniquely work and walk through me and what I can do? You get to be kind of in this sweet, reverent spot of your life a lot sooner. It's not to say that, I still got to where I needed to be, but I think I could have been having a lot more fun a lot earlier. I could have been having a lot more personal resolve and just clarity a lot earlier.
I resonate with that so much because I feel like I've also lived so many lifetimes and I feel like I've had so much experience in many different ways.
Yeah.
And I think that as much as it's great to know what and wish that there was things that I could have done or could have shortcuts that I could have taken when I was younger, I feel like at the same time, where I am now, the level of comfort that I have in who I am, the level of this idea of confidence and clarity and decision-making skills that I have based around my boundaries and my needs, my wants, my goals, my dreams. I just don't think that I would have the confidence to really stand in that with 10 toes down without having tried all the other ways first.
Truly.
And so it's really wonderful to have spaces like this where we can share a lot about our journey, a little bit about our journeys actually, and try to help other people see ways in which they can kind of navigate in their own lives and little tips and things they can take from our own lived experiences is really, I think it's such a blessing. So,
and it's so interesting, right? Because I think even at this kind of like point in our generation, something that we don't think about enough is just how many firsts our generation has been kind of the pioneers of, the guinea pigs of, just in so many ways. Like we're a version of human being that hasn't really existed yet. And we're the bridge between the ease that and the abilities that the next generation are going to have. But like, honestly, even if I had known all of those things younger, like our collective consciousness was so low. It's not even like that may have even made my life better. It might have made it harder to be that confident and awake and aware and clear in a society that didn't really have the structures to hold that up at that time.
I totally agree. I wonder, like, you've obviously, not only do we have this experience between us, you've worked with so many high-performing individuals, whether it be professionals, community leaders, corporate leaders, artists.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's like an overarching theme about people who seemingly are constantly in motion, constantly moving from this place to the next, always producing the pressure to always be performing. How does that always on mindset impact our minds and our bodies? And why is it so important for us to learn how to slow down and disconnect from that?
Fundamentally, it's just a construct of the time we're alive in now. And I think it's important for us to remember that, like, none of this has to be the way that we operate. You know, some of it provides ease and a whole lot of like convenience, but ultimately, I think it's important for all of us to know, like, I did an event recently. I was speaking at this women's event that Rebecca Minkoff put on. And when we were kind of all talking after, when it was a room filled with career women that are building like really special, beautiful things in the world, work really hard. One of the things that Rebecca said to me, I haven't stopped thinking about. She mentioned, you know, women have only been like really working like this for less than 100 years. Like that's nothing. 100 years in the full scope of like human evolution is a millisecond. Like it's nothing. But when we really think about that, I think the pressure we have on ourselves, even this pressure for seeking balance or the pressure for like being highly successful and accomplishing everything, we all still have no idea what we're doing. These are completely new roles. You know, like even back in like, I was born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, right? It's like you had a handful of women that stood out across the country, across the world. It's only been 40 years, right? So it's like we're just now really understanding how to even work with the energy of being someone that creates at a big level and does other things too, and is a human being. So, you know, I say all that to say, truly none of us have the answers. We are all doing this dance for the very first time. But I think long-term sustainability and even like the potency of creativity and the potency of what can be created, it really relies in someone's ability to genuinely be curious about themselves inwardly and outwardly and strive for things that are bigger than just self-satisfaction. And I think everyone, no matter who you are, if you're not tapping into those two things, you're always going to hit a wall, always.
Right.
Because you're not really honoring your human experience. And a thing I think is really important for us to be thinking about right now in these in-between times and in-between worlds is we are here to be human. Like ultimately, we are incarnated on earth to be human beings. So to give away our human experience by either being so consumed with an idea, you know, or so consumed with whatever kind of ways someone wants to see themselves in this day and age, it's really a miss. It's really a waste of what it is we're here to be and do.
First of all, that was so on point. And I think that one of the big things and one of the big drawbacks from not experiencing life in that way is this feeling of being stuck, right? I think there's so many people who are feeling like they don't know which way to go. There's so much, like, it's like a paralysis of indecision and confusion and the opposite of clarity, because they're we're just searching and seeking for all of these things, comparing and looking around and not looking within. So I feel like those two
Yeah.
things really go together.
We have to go inward. Like that is the whole point. And it's like I think so many of us have realized, it's like, what is the point of looking the part on Instagram? What is the point of, having the quote unquote worldly success if you're a wreck of a person inside, if you can't even feel good things when they're present? I've just come across so many trend-wise, like highly successful people that don't even feel any of the goodness that surrounds them, that don't know how to feel joy even when, the big check comes or the big event comes or the big recognition comes. And so then they're feeling even more empty after they've achieved those things.
Right.
Because we haven't addressed what the void is actually made of that they're looking to fill.
Right, right. And that takes me to like the inner work, right? Because you talk a lot about the inner work, and you said that healing asks us to face painful corners of our lives instead of running from them. So what happens to us emotionally, spiritually, and even physically when we keep avoiding what hurts?
We're here to feel. Feeling is what being human is. And, I always want to take a special care when we talk about things like this deep, right? Because there is no surface level answer that can really address the depths of what some of us carry. Like we're in, so many of us, millions and millions of people, just have really complex lives that have been filled with not just one hard thing, but probably many different hard things that we never talk about. So no, it isn't. I know I can say, go inward, look at yourself, be with yourself. One, if you've never done it, it's like, how, and that's what I used to constantly ask when I was at a different place on my journey. How, okay, yes, I want it, but how, and so often some of the things that you can find when you're seeking in these spaces just feel so bypassy, right? Like it's not getting to the root of the root, but it's the greatest work you could choose to do on yourself. It's the greatest work you could do with your whole life. It is the entire point. God has no idea what job titles are. Like what? Like they change every 10 years. Half of the careers that exist now did not exist when I entered the workspace. So having a title, having a certain kind of group you belong to, or, sense of being relevant, none of it actually matters. And the sooner we can really connect to that, the freer we can actually be and the more fun we can have with what we're here to do. But none of it is real without the inner work. And, I just really want to stress for people, truly the scariest part is starting, right? It's wrapping your mind around what the beginning is. And it's a false belief that if you press play on this work, that you'll never be able to get out of it, that you're then going to be wallowing in the things that hurt too much to think about or are just too challenging to process. But all of it is doable. All of it is winnable. All of it is bearable. But you owe yourself the dignity of your experience, and you owe yourself your own witnessing of what has happened to you and who you can become in spite of.
That's so true. And I feel like for so many people, this idea that you mentioned is like, well, how, right? There's so many people who don't even understand that wellness is for them. You and I are on a very similar journey in that respect where, my goal is to teach people and to educate people about how wellness can be intertwined into their daily lives.
Yeah.
And in your new book, Living in Wisdom, you assure all of us that wellness is something that we can achieve in small daily choices. Can you speak to that a little bit more and share what you mean?
Oh, yeah. Everything about growth really boils down to personal choice, and it boils down to daily choice. And, I like to look at it in a kind of more soulful and deeper way than just saying, you're trying to build a habit, right? I think we're trying to build our capacity for self-devotion, for our ability to be devoted to our unique experience and needs and devoted to our lives, right? And when you create that greater devotion to your life, that's how you show up and serve in your community. It's just this idea that everyone has to be doing big things that the whole world knows about, I think is just one of the greatest kind of villains of this time. The thing that's most important is, who are you one-on-one? Who are you with the people that are in front of you while they're there? Who are you with your intimate ecosystem and community, and how do you show up powerfully there? So, I think all of that gets formed when you slow down enough and really connect to devotional daily practice, because you see yourself show up in these really small details and kind of like intrinsic ways. Very often, if you've experienced trauma, or even if you just have like a lot of life friction, which means you could be very stressed out right now for all sorts of reasons, but usually what happens is you are existing in a dysregulated space the vast majority of the time. When you are emotionally dysregulated, when your body is dysregulated, when your nervous system is not kind of showing up as a stabilizing force for you, you're not even who you say you are in any of the places you go.
Wow.
There's no congruence there, right? Like, even if you are this, wonderful person or have whatever the things are, you're not showing up in the truth of your personality because you can't. It's impossible. So I think that's one of the first easy lifts that gives a lot of benefit to people. You get to be who you say you are when you show up, and you get the truth of your personality, not the version that's a little irritated or a little insecure or a little defensive and deflective, combative. Like, those are all byproducts of an inner stress and strain, or something unsaid, or an unmet need. So I think at the fundamental level, just kind of check in personality-wise, emotionally. Were you who you believe yourself to be today in each of these, interactions? And then on another scale, I think when you do go through hard things in life, or have certain kind of wounds or pain points that are uncommon, you imagine that something that takes 5 minutes could never address the totality of what you're going through or what you've been through. And I used to think that for myself too. So I think that's so valid and fair. But when you start practices, you actually realize that, oh no, like, you build the muscle memory so fast that, yes, actually this one thing that took 3 minutes could shift everything in your body. You feel your biology completely different, which means you're able to make other bigger and different choices in every aspect of your life. So it's always been so interesting for me over the years, like when I teach self-care work, how much someone will reject a 5-minute practice that's free versus deciding to sign up for a course or a bigger experience and then buy all the gear that comes with it and then commit to doing it for an hour, X, Y, and Z. And it's connect to the breath first. You will find how easily everything else can come.
Well, you said so many things there that I was like immediately drawn to my experience in motherhood, because through a lot of my interactions with peers and friends, my mom friends, and I think that it's so on point at this moment where people are kind of just disconnecting from themselves, and they're sort of in this autopilot mode. And I want to speak to motherhood a little bit and put our little mom caps on.
Yes, please.
I know we have between us 4 kids. I'm carrying
You're carrying
the heavy
the load
there. But I also really love your take and your perspective on parenting and how you remind all of us as parents to see our children for who they are. And what do you mean by that? And how can we practice that in our daily lives also while we're practicing small things like these 3 or 5 minute breath works to really improve how we feel in that day? What are some things that we can do and choices that we can make to help our children along their journey as well?
Oh, such a robust and important question. I feel so lucky. Can I just start by saying I feel so lucky to be a mom in this time in human evolution? Like, true, I mean, I know that there are probably an immense amount of ways that it's more complicated, right, than it ever has been. But we do have so many emotional resources now, like just so many. And even if you don't have access to a lot of things or the time, even simple scrolling on Instagram, if you're connected to the right algorithm, you can get incredibly useful things to your process.
Sure can.
Which I think like lets us lean into the unique nature of what it is to be the mother of our child, right? Because it's like, even in that, we're having a shared experience, but a lot of us, we are coming from so many different dynamics that lead us into kind of learning what our style is, but also what we're trying to avoid in parenting, what we're trying to heal in ourselves. You know, it's like without fail, every year with my son, as I'm like observing and learning his new age, I'm healing myself at that age by the way I'm able to show up as a mother for him. And it's always present. It's not even something I have to try for. Like I just noticed that God will also give me an opportunity to unlock a past wound or a misconception, or even connect to like amazing, wonderful core memories of the year that my son is in that time. So I'm always kind of with that in a really kind of intentional, sweet way. But we get the chance to really see our kids and not just be overly prescriptive. And I think that's really important for a lot of new moms to know. Yes, seek out the information you need. Like that's part of what our village is sometimes. It's either the people or it's the information that we're able to find to give us directives. But no matter where you are on your journey, please do not underestimate and undervalue the power of your personal intuition.
Oh,
Like learning to trust yourself as a mother is the greatest gift you can give your child. Absolutely pick up on tips and tricks, check the science, read some books, and check in with how true any of this information actually is for you and your unique child. You know, it's like, don't just, if your kid is having big feelings. My mom used to always, when I was growing up, she would call me a deep feeler. That was like my nickname. Like she would just like, she'd be like, she feels things so deeply, which is so true. But now there's also like other terms. Like I'm like, oh, I have ADHD and I have a couple other things that are going on, So I think it's important to get information that can be helpful at beginning to understand kind of a bigger view of childhood right now.
wow.
But look at your child, look at their needs. Take the time to take a deep breath and really say, okay, what do they need from me now? And pray about it. I am always in conversation with God fast in the moment. Like, God, I don't have the words, guide me. I don't know how to address this right now. Show me, teach me, help me show up to the best of my ability for exactly what his need is right now. So I also, that's my leaning into all that I don't know. But I'm not rushing to fill what I don't know with other people's truly new understandings of parenthood. Most parent experts around my age, you're the expert of your child,
Right.
or you're the expert of, X amount of kids you've been with. But yeah, we have to lean into that. And I think too, creating more time to see what your kid brings into the room, into the table, not over planning even everything that you're going to say to each other when you're sitting down for a meal. It's good to have structure. Like when we first have our babies and we create like our schedules, right? That is such an exciting time when you finally get to put your newborn on a schedule until you're like, okay, at 2:00 in this, tummy time, then I'm going to touch them here. I'm going to say this to them there. I'm going to feed them this. I'm going to.
Yep.
And then we just keep that going, but that doesn't let like our kids have a chance to really rise in their authenticity and kind of see what they bring to the family, what they bring to the table. So
Ooh.
I like to create a lot of space for that. I think there's a lot of, we see all the things. Definitely take your deep breaths, do mindfulness techniques with your kids. It helps. They won't get all of it right away, but it helps. But also like creating a void of nothingness and just seeing who are they if I'm not controlling every aspect of what we talk about, when we talk about it, and what we do together.
I love that idea because it's so interesting this time that we're in with our kids and with our family life. Everyone's so busy. The scheduling, like I will not say that I am not a part of that community or that lifestyle. Everything is planned and scheduled to a T. But then there are planned days to have freedom.
Yes.
To do nothing, to be sporadic, to maybe go out for a stroll or grab lunch or dinner and like have uncertainty and have imagination come in and take place. And I think a lot of people forget that aspect of, like you said, letting the children lead and take you where they want to go and see who they are outside of their plans and their schedules, right?
I just love so much that you said that because I think that is really like the perfect practice to do because same, like I run a well-oiled machine. I run a tight ship in every kind of a way, like I have to. But I do the same thing. Like I plan like just like a synchronicity day and it's just, we're going to wake up and what's going to happen and what are we going to do and what should we do? And, just make it, people are saying this a lot now, but we need to think of it as adults too. It's like, let yourself be bored. Like create more time and space for boredom. In the last couple of years, like I'm always craving an analog life. So in the last couple of years, I took like TVs out of any bedrooms and I put clocks in every room. And then I got a house phone and I got an FM radio that stays plugged in. I wanted to have less convenience. Like I don't want all the extra thoughts and control of always putting my Bluetooth to sync with my smart home so that I'm listening to my playlist or a playlist the algorithm has determined for me.
Yep.
Like I'm just like, what happens to come on the radio at this time of day on this station? And where does that take my mind? What does that make me do? What's that ambiance feel like in the background? And then not having to be with your phone because I'm not going to look at my phone to know what time it is. I'm going to look at my clock because I know how to tell time. I'm going to look at my watch, non-digitized, And I think when we create more moments like that, even within our home, to stop feeling like we have to be at the highest level of efficiency at all time, that's how we can slowly train ourselves to what it feels like to relax. We can slowly train ourselves into what it feels like to have a slow life, have a soft life, like all the girlies are saying, It's like being soft is moments like that, creating space for surprise to catch you, for the unknown to happen, and to not be chained to any particular thing.
Right. I couldn't agree more. I feel like we are at a time where like I'm trying to even implement ways to disconnect and ways to connect more with more intention because we are so available to all of the distractions that we have around us. I recently stopped. I'm doing this thing and I can, for anyone listening, do this thing that I'm going to explain right now. So I don't check my phone in the morning anymore. Like I do not hop on my phone. I get up, I hang out with my kids. I go wake them up or they'll come wake me up and we do things together. We do hair, we get ready. I don't check my phone before I leave my house. And so I also
really
decided I'm not getting to social media after 8 because the algorithm, I chuckled when you said algorithm. My algorithm has me in a chokehold.
Oh my God.
At
What
night,
is it?
It's just joy. It's just joy and happiness. Lots of really funny. There's so many incredibly talented and creative people in the world, and I feel like my algorithm wants me to see them all. And I will just get caught in a loop scrolling and laughing all night long if I stay on my phone. So what I've done is I've taken my phone out of the equation about 8:30, and I'm done. Like that gives me really, my kids go to bed at 7:30. That gives me an hour of phone time before I shut it down for the night. And it's changed things so drastically for me. I felt so guilty and so on constantly being on my phone, even though I was looking at wholesome, lovely things. It just felt like I just felt like it was unnatural almost for my body.
Yeah.
And so I put the phone down. I've been feeling so much more productive. There's been so much more space and time to connect with my kids, to connect with my own thoughts, and to just really consider like my schedule, a lot less anxiety. There's just so much that has come out of that experience. So I would recommend that. I will say we could probably go on forever, but it's been so great to have you here. I want to end things by asking you that, or asking for anyone who's looking to start their wellness journey. What I found is that there has been so much progress in spreading mental health resources, tools, information, if you're searching for it. And I do think that's one of the beautiful things of social media and the internet and AI and all of these things, is like tools becoming more accessible. But nobody knows where to start. It's so hard to know where to start. And it's so hard to not feel silly almost when you are starting out on your wellness journey. Because you begin to learn all the things that you didn't know before.
Ooh-wee.
And I think so for anyone getting started in their journey, like what would your advice be to them? And maybe one tangible tool besides reading your new book, Living in Wisdom, to help them get moving in their journey.
Oh, such a loaded question.
I know. Sorry. I'm known for those.
So many paths to take. Depending on what led you to your journey, I would say, no, you don't need just one thing. I recommend, especially if you are a survivor of traumatic experiences, get extra support too. Like, don't just rely on kind of, your own kind of gumption. Like, lean into getting support, finding a therapy style that might work for you best, finding, some ways to move your body that could also support processing hard things that are going on in the mind and the heart. But lately, what I've really been telling people is get some labs done first on your wellness journey. And don't rush to stock up on supplements that are going to be too overwhelming, and too many to take at once. It's hard to keep up with. It's so hard to keep up with. You can build this big plan that you can never accomplish that way. But consider getting some labs done, because that'll also give you a baseline of what is you and your feeling and what's actually just your body needing support, right? Because something that science is finding now is so many different deficiencies in our intake can lead to issues with our mental health. And so, for instance, one of those things would be if you're low in vitamin D, that could be why you have depression, right? Or why it's intensified or longer, So when we know some of those things where those deficiencies could be, we could also meet the inner work support we're doing with some biological support. But really begin by slowing down enough to spend non-performative time with your body. So stretching your body, learning how to get back into your body, how to feel at peace inside of your body is really helpful, because when you start meditation, one of the first things that many people find is it can make you want to jump out of your skin. Like it can be really hard to just be still and to just be quiet. And it doesn't mean you can't do it, because all of us face that issue at first. But it does mean you are going to need to have a little more practice staying inside especially in times that you don't necessarily want to. And so finding a way to build that bridge between the mind and the heart, the mind and the body is really important, because for everything else to grow and expand, it requires that connection to be present.
Right.
So doing some kind of body work like that, even at a base level, have a therapy session and then go get a massage or go have a deep stretch and turn the lights low. And then I would also say, like, spend time every day focused on your breathing. Really trying to do some breath work practices. A box breath is a great place to start. Deep belly breath, pushing air out through pursed lips. But notice how much air you can bring into your body and really look to stretch that capacity, especially, and this is if you're able to do it, breathing through your nose. Because if you're breathing through your mouth, you're not getting enough oxygen to support your brain, your organs, or any of the emotional work that you're doing on yourself. So, do the work, but also make sure you're giving yourself kind of the support that you need so you can stay on the journey.
Yeah.
Because it isn't easy, and it is a lifelong one, so you don't have to race to the finish line. Little by little, one thing at a time, you'll get there.
Yep. Wow. That was quite a mic drop moment. I feel like that was really lovely. Thanks for wrapping that up for us. I want to ask you a personal question. Like, what is lighting you up right now? Or is there anything that you would like to share with all of us about yourself, or anything that you're working on coming up here in the future?
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I'm lit up by a lot right now.
Ooh.
I really am. I feel, and it's not even necessarily because I have anything to share. I don't have big stories, but I just feel like I'm in another experimentation phase in my life, which is really exciting for me. Like, I feel very much deeply planted in the unknown right now. And I'm letting myself get a thrill out of it, of just saying, like, surprise me, God. Like, what is coming? Like, you can trust me with it. What's coming? Surprise me. So I'm having fun creating. I want to bring, this insight, this depth to new spaces. I want to revisit some places I've been in my life and shine this light on it. And then I'm just really loving, like, I'm so lit up being a mom right now. Me and my son are having a blast. Like, it's just such a privilege, like, to be his, and to know him, to play with it. He's hilarious. So I'm soaking in every second I can of that. And definitely just get the book, everybody. Audiobook, or the actual tangible book in hand, paper. But I really hope everyone gets the book, Living in Wisdom. It's truly a path to integrating the heart and the mind, to being able to kind of bear witness to your life, to transcend certain patterns and circumstances, and to also learn, like, great foundational technique of how to build a devotional self-care practice.
That's wonderful. I really love that. I'm finding more and more that people are just really into just being in the here and the now. And I think that's great. I think it's wonderful. So
we need it.
One last thing. We're going to play Do Tell card game. I've pre-selected a few questions for you to choose from.
I love this.
Okay. I'm going to let you, I'm really hoping you pick the one that I want you to pick. So read my mind and pick the one. I know.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh, I don't know. Hold on. What energy? I'm going to go with the middle.
That's the one. That was the one. Here we go.
Got it? Okay. Oh my God. How would your closest friend describe you? Oh my word. I am so many things.
How would they describe you?
They describe me. Oh my gosh. I think they would describe me as very playful and intense. Yeah, I'm a pretty intense person, but also just a, like, fairy, like, such a Gemini, like, just very, like, playful. I flirt with life. I flirt with the sun. Like, yeah, but also, like, very intense. I take life very seriously.
I love that. I feel like that's one of my favorite questions to ask people
I
because
love
it gives you
that.
a really good insight, I think, into who they are.
And maybe the word like steadfast keeps coming up. I feel like I'm a very, like my friends would or could use a word like that.
Okay, amazing. This has been
I love
so
that.
lovely for everyone. Hold on. Let me grab your book here. If you have not already purchased Living in Wisdom, you can do so right down in the links and everything. And it's just been such a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching the Do Tell Relationship Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you are listening to this episode and leave us a comment as well. And lastly, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email at thedotellpodcast@gmail.com or DM us at BeneXNina on Instagram. See you next week with another exciting guest.